Well, it's a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea taking on Everton. It is goalless. Chelsea with the lion's share of possession, the lion's share of chances, but ultimately couldn't beat Jordan Pickford. A couple of efforts going wide, a couple of good saves from Pickford. And the longer the first half went on, you just felt as though Everton was sort of more comfortable in that role of being a team that were just there really to soak up Chelsea pressure. And it will be interesting to see now whether or not Chelsea have another way of trying to break Everton down, and will Everton perhaps dare to try and attack a little bit more in the second half. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Sam Wright taking you through the action. And Sam, looks like Chelsea are going to try and get forward straight away here.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's what they'll be hoping to do. The opening 20 minutes of the first half, they absolutely dominated, and it was just a constant blue wave at the Everton goal. But Everton did survive it, and I think Tuchel will just be saying, look, just keep doing it. Obviously, they lost their way a bit towards the end of the half, which was a bit concerning. But I think that's what the message will be. Just start the way you started the first half. Just keep going at them, and the goal will come.
Goal will come. That's what Chelsea need to believe. And from Everton's point of view, they need to believe they can keep it at 0-0 and to perhaps get themselves a spell of possession, a corner kick, a free kick, to try and take an unlikely. And Everton will be shooting towards their own fans in this second half as well, as a little added incentive. But first things first, they've got to try and get this ball off Chelsea, because we're a minute and a half into the second half, and it's as you were with Chelsea enjoying possession around about the halfway line. It's Rudiger now forward towards Jorginho. Remind you of the two sides in just a moment, but we'll just see how Ziyech can use this ball now on the left-hand side. Gets it in towards Pulisic. A bit of a heavy touch from him. That's flicked away by Andre Gomez. Picked up now by Alex Iwobi. Two Chelsea players around it, but he does well. And I think Ziyech might have actually hurt himself in trying to stop Iwobi, but the long ball has gone down the right-hand side, and John Joe Kenny perhaps just wanted a little bit too much time there against Antonio Rudiger, and in the end Rudiger wins that ball for his side, but Ziyech still down.
Yeah, I think it took a bit long there, to be honest, Kenny. I don't know why he hesitated so much, really, to go for it, but fair play to Rudiger, come across really quickly. Look at that again, yeah, I think he gets a little bit left on him there, but I don't think it's intentional by Iwobi, but he kind of stands on his ankle. Therefore, it's a painful one for Ziyech, but I don't think there's any intent there by the Nigerian, but a painful one.
Yeah, well, he's still down holding his right ankle, I think it is there, Hakim Ziyech. So just remind you of the two 11s very quickly. Edouard Mendy in goal for Chelsea, with the back three of Cesar Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva and Antonio Rudiger. Four across the middle, Reece James, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Jorginho and Marcus Alonso, with Hakim Ziyech, Mason Mount and Christian Pulisic as the three up front for Everton. Is Jordan Pickford in goal, a back four of Mason Holgate, Jarrad Branthwaite, Michael Keane and Ben Godfrey. The four across the middle, John Joe Kenny, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Andre Gomez and Anthony Gordon, with Alex Iwobi playing just behind Ellis Sims. And for the time being, there's still problems here for Hakim Ziyech. He's still checking that right ankle. He is up on his feet now, and he's sort of stamping that right foot down, which is good news, because of course if he was in excruciating pain there, he wouldn't be able to do that. Former Everton man Ross Barkley just warming up for Chelsea now. There's a potential replacement there for Ziyech if needs be, but you'd imagine that for the time being he is going to come back on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously Barkley had that spell at Aston Villa on loan last season, started really well. I remember him scoring against Liverpool in that famous 7-2, and then the winner against Leicester City in the following game at the King Power Stadium. But all the potential Barkley had at Everton, I really feel like he hasn't quite lived up to that throughout his career. It's a real shame, to be honest, because obviously when he was a young teenager breaking through, he was one of the most exciting in the country, but he's never really managed to get himself as a regular in this Chelsea team either, unfortunately. But yeah,
the talent is definitely there, but as I say, it might just be the case that when you look at some of the players that Chelsea don't need, I mean, for Conor Gallagher springs to mind immediately, doesn't it, when you look at the sort of season he's had, basically through loans at West Brom and Palace, has earned himself an England call-up without ever actually playing for his parent club. But here come Chelsea down the right. Loftus-Cheek's ball into James is just stopped at the edge of the area before it's cleared long by Ben Godfrey down the left-hand side. A bouncing ball that Sims almost judged just a little bit better there than Thiago Silva, but in the end it is the Brazilian that now plays it square to Rudiger, and Chelsea able to play out from the back again. Rudiger just stops in the centre circle, fires a ball down the middle here, which is picked up by Mount, and then Pulisic spots Marcus Alonso. A lot of space for him down the left-hand side. Now he's being closed down by Holgate and Kenny. Goes back towards Mount. It's just a little bit short. Mount just about keeps possession, finds Jorginho, then it's Azpilicueta's ball into the box, headed down, it drops to Loftus-Cheek. He can't get a clean strike of the ball, and then it's hooked up in the air by Michael Keane, bouncing just over the head of Jorginho before Rudiger goes back to Thiago Silva.
Yeah, just failed to get any connection on it there, didn't he, in the end, Loftus-Cheek, and there's a chance again now for Ziyech this time.
Yeah, tight angle. Ziyech thought about the shot, didn't want to shoot in the end, took another step and then tried to cross it. That was charged down. It's out for a throw to Chelsea down the left-hand side. He's had a busy evening so far, Mason Holgate. And judging by the first 5 minutes of the second half, it's going to be more of the same as Iwobi and Kenny combined to just about win that ball back for Everton. They don't clear it very far, though, and Chelsea are back in possession here now with Thiago Silva. Looks up at the edge of the area, plays the ball over towards the left-hand edge of the field here for Ziyech. Looks fine for the time being after that earlier injury. Now Mason Mount. Mount with the shot. Oh, it's curling, and it needed a hand there from Pickford to palm it away for a corner. Didn't look particularly dangerous when Mount struck it, but it certainly was curling towards goal. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, a bit of a strange effort from Mount, really. I think Pulisic's presence was a bit distracting for the goalkeeper as well. He kind of goes in, and Pickford just has to make absolute sure by getting a hand to it.
It's a deflection as well, yeah. That's what's done for it there, is that ball taking a big deflection. So credit to Pickford. Corner kick now to Chelsea, an in-swinger from Alonso, headed on at the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's looping over the bar. Loftus-Cheek, he's a big target in that box, and the header just wide.
Yeah, I think like from that position, I maybe back him to score there. I mean, I might be a bit critical in that occasion. We'll have a look at the replay. Loftus-Cheek does get his head to it, and yeah, he's just glanced it backwards. It's not a bad effort, just a little bit too much on it. Actually, it's his back, actually. Doesn't get any clean connection on it, and therefore it just bounces over. But Pickford did have it covered anyway, I think, if it were dropping it on target. Yeah,
there wasn't enough pace on it for Pickford not to have enough time there. You're absolutely right. He would have been able to get himself underneath that had it been going on target. And Pickford, a bit of a slice goal kick. That's where Pickford does sometimes get criticised. His distribution just lets him down. He's got a ferocious left foot, but sometimes just doesn't quite have the control. So a throw on to Chelsea now down the right-hand side. Azpilicueta bringing the ball forward. Now leaves it for Thiago. Here is Jorginho now under pressure from Sims. Back towards Antonio Rudiger. So options left and right here for Rudiger, but just leaves it here for Thiago Silva. Chelsea don't want to break their rhythm and their routine too much. They've had a good start, an excellent start to this game in terms of possession, and they want to maintain that really. If they start giving the ball away or playing too many long balls, then that might just play into Everton's hands. But here is Loftus-Cheek down the right-hand side, finds Reece James. James's ball into the box. And John Joe Kenny, perhaps he could have got a shout there from his keeper, but with so much traffic just behind him, he thought safety first, he puts it out for a corner.
Yeah, safety first, right decision there. That's all you can do in that position. You never know who's behind you, so always best take the safe option. This is Chelsea's fourth corner of the game. Everton's still yet to have one. Of course, the last one did cause problems.
Here comes an in-swinger. It's headed on by Azpilicueta at the edge of the 6-yard box. Cleared to the edge of the box, and then Alonso couldn't keep the ball for Chelsea. Anthony Gordon brings it away now for Everton. He's got options here, and one of them is Alex Iwobi. There's actually an option on the overlap here for Ellis Sims, and Sims breaking into the area, back to Iwobi. Chelsea back in numbers. There's still a chance here for Kenny, who strikes it with the right foot. Well, the ball sat up nicely for him, so I can't blame John Joe Kenny putting his right foot through that. But when you think there were three other players at the edge of the area, maybe Kenny should have thought about a pass or a cross.
I think when you look at Everton's attacking options on the field, that lack of quality just showed there. Sims never really looked convinced when he had the ball. Iwobi just, again, never really looked convincing either. Gets the pass away, and in the end, Kenny's effort always going over. I feel like if they had more promising players in that position, Everton, it would have been a bit of a better attack, but no one ever really looked like they wanted to take control.
No, it's a shame because Godfrey was completely unmarked inside the penalty area, and if that ball had been played to him by Kenny, then the Godfrey would have pretty much had a free shot from around 7 or 8 yards, but it wasn't to be. And Chelsea now pushing forward here with Thiago, a long ball looking for Pulisic, just over his head though, and that will drop all the way through towards Jordan Pickford. Now looking up, waiting to see where his teammates are. Thought about long ball, but just bowls it out towards Branthwaite here on the left-hand side. Left-footed ball over the top here from Branthwaite, headed down by Azpilicueta. It's a good header as well, getting it away from any potential Everton player who are in their white chain strip this evening. Of course, playing in the home strip, they would certainly be clashing with Chelsea's all blue. As Keane now playing this back towards Pickford, who is very nonchalant the way he just lets that ball roll almost towards the goal line, but he just about clears it inside the 6-yard box. Azpilicueta there colliding with Anthony Gordon. And certainly Rafa Benitez wasn't happy. I think Michael Oliver has just given a throw here, but Everton perhaps wanting a free kick.
I think he has given a free kick to Everton in the end. Yeah, he has given a free kick. Azpilicueta, I don't know if he slipped or anything there, because it was a bit of a needless foul. No, he wasn't going anywhere, that's for sure. But he brings him down, and Everton have a free kick. But Azpilicueta, with his experience, should certainly expect better. But Everton have wasted the free kick.
They have. It's a hopeful ball. I mean, you can see what Branthwaite's trying to do there. He sees Iwobi in a little bit of space, but in the end he misses his teammate by a good few yards. And once again, Chelsea start with a short goal kick. Mendy rolled it to Rudiger. Now he finds Ziyech down the left-hand side. Alonso just tries to flick that ball past John Joe Kenny. Kenny gets his body in the way and almost draws that foul from Alonso.
Yeah, Everton won't mind this. I mean, Chelsea committing a couple of fouls in recent times. That's exactly what Everton will want. Chelsea to get frustrated. Looks like they've gone to take a quick free kick, but the referee, has denied Pickford doing that because of a rolling ball. But yeah, that's exactly what Everton will want. Chelsea committing the fouls on them, and they can break up the play a little bit. I mean, they've got this far at 0-0, and they are starting to have a couple of threats going forward on the break. So as far as Everton are concerned, it's not a bad spell for them.
No, it's not. And there's a wry smile there on Jordan Pickford because he took that free kick too quickly, and now he's taking an awful long time to set up the retake of that free kick. I think a few Chelsea fans there just to the side of him were suggesting he was doing that deliberately, and that little smirk from him probably suggests that he was. But now the ball from Pickford reaches Gordon, and then he finds Godfrey. Godfrey just straining a little bit to get that shot away. He does get it towards goal, but it's a toe end really, and it's easy for Mendy.
Yeah, it kind of felt to him a bit awkwardly in the end, like he wanted to take it down, but he had to get the shot away because obviously he was under pressure and the effort was really weak, and it's an easy save for Mendy. But again, Everton just having a little bit of promise going forward, and the only issue, of course, is their attacking threats on the field aren't exactly the most promising. Not many goals in there, but they need to take the most of these chances when they do have them.
And here come Chelsea now with Loftus-Cheek, leaves it for Jorginho, about 30-35 yards out. Now it's with James on the right-hand side. He wanted the quick give and go there with Mason Mount, but he was brought down. Looks like it's Godfrey that's challenged Reece James there. Free kick to Chelsea. Chance to get this ball in right over on the right-hand touchline here, about 25 yards out. As we see from the replay there, James gets the ball away, and Godfrey never really made any effort to get out of the way of that. But then, in those situations, defenders can't really get out of the way, so he was almost like he was bound to give the free kick away there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not the best free kick to give away. It gives James a chance to get a really dangerous ball into the area, but like you say, didn't really have a choice in the end, and I'm sure this will be a dangerous.
Here comes James's ball in. Oh, it just stopped in front of Pulisic, and then it drops to Azpilicueta, leaning back, rushing his shot a little bit, and he fires that a long way over the bar. The initial target there was Pulisic for the first cross, and he very nearly was able to capitalise there.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a bad ball at all from James, really. As I mentioned, quite a dangerous one. It kind of stops, as you say. Azpilicueta gets there, controls, but it's always leaning back and it's always going over. And we mentioned, of course, a lot of talkers about Man City lacking that number 9. I think games like this are proving, obviously, with the absence of Lukaku, Chelsea are as well, really, at times. I mean, if they had a number 9 on the pitch, I feel like they would be posing more of a threat going forward. But it is alarming, really, Chelsea going forward. Maybe the lack of a number 9. Obviously, Lukaku's not been on great form when he's played, and he's absent today, and it's kind of showing at times.
It is, yeah. I mean, the stats now show that it's 80% possession for Chelsea with just 20 for Everton. And it really is starting to show that this advantage that Chelsea have is actually growing as the second half is wearing on. But still not too much work for Pickford in the Everton goal, as here comes Loftus-Cheek, gets away from Andre Gomez a little bit too easily, really. Tries to get that ball in towards Mason Mount. Mount just robbed of it at the edge of the area. Pulisic couldn't win it back either, and Branthwaite now is on the run. He is brought down, and Jorginho is going to get a booking here. I'm not too sure that he's complaining at the referee. He's probably more complaining at his teammates for leaving him so exposed there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, good play from Branthwaite, actually, and he just wins the free kick, and Jorginho's a blatant yellow card, to be honest. And yeah, frustrating one really for Chelsea, as I just feel like they're lacking that rhythm really so far at the moment. The last 5 minutes or so, Everton are frustrating them, getting out and winning these free kicks, is exactly what they'll want to do.
It's quite funny. They're looking at Jorginho there as he's reacting to that yellow card. It was almost like he was complaining to the referee, saying, well, look, they left me no option, these teammates of mine. Everton getting ready to make a change, and certainly Rafa Benitez doesn't have too many options on his bench. As I said, he's got 2 goalkeepers, and he hasn't actually got the full quota of players on the bench either. So we'll be interesting to see who he's going to bring on here just to try and freshen things up. It's just over half an hour to play, 59 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary, Chelsea 0, Everton 0. In the other game, it's still half-time between Liverpool and Newcastle, but surely should be getting underway very shortly now for the second half. That game also available on our service as the ball is into the Everton penalty area, but Pickford comes out, makes a comfortable save. And then just that quick calm down to his teammates there, nice and slow, making sure everybody gets out of the penalty area. This so far is going to plan here for Everton, it has to be said.
Yeah, that was really good from Jordan Pickford then. Really good starting position as the ball was played through, and he gets there ahead of Pulisic. So, yeah, good goalkeeping. Like you say, it's going to plan for Everton right now. They've still got to be wary, though. Chelsea, much as somebody mentioned they're missing a number 9, they've still got options on the field who can certainly score goals. So, they've certainly got to be wary as they come forward here.
Yeah, well, it's a challenge now from Branthwaite, and to the Everton players, heads in their hands. They can't believe that's been given as a free kick. Jordan Branthwaite there looked towards the referee in disbelief. Let's have a look here whether he's got any case to be so surprised. I'm not so sure. Does he get any of the ball there at all?
No, I think that's definitely a free kick. I think the referee's made the right decision, really. I think Branthwaite's overstretched a little bit. Loftus-Cheek's got to the ball first. It's a definite free kick.
Yeah, well, I do remember doing commentary of a championship game where Branthwaite completely accidentally, and going for a high ball against Middlesbrough, caught the Middlesbrough player flush in the face, and there was a lot of talk after the game that perhaps he deserved a red card for that. So he's a big, strong player, though, Branthwaite, and he felt aggrieved with that, but I'm not sure there was any argument to say he actually won the ball. It's a free kick now to Chelsea, and it's a good ball in as well from Reece James, and Rudiger, his head in his hands now because he had a good chance there. It may well be that the ball was just curling away from goal anyway, but Rudiger has the look of someone who feels he should have done better there.
I think someone might have got their foot up in there as well, actually, which might have put him off a little bit. Rudiger at the back post. Is it Godfrey, maybe? I think he just puts him off with that boot. I mean, definitely not a high boot or anything, but yeah, it does enough, and Sims' debut is over, and it's going to be Dobbin who comes onto the field. Yeah,
so Sims is off to be replaced by Lewis Dobbin, who is 18-year-old. He'll be turning 19 in January, just after the new year. But this is a good opportunity for him now. Difficult to criticise Sims. He certainly didn't get any kind of service, really, that a striker could expect in a game.
Absolutely no. He held the ball up well at times. I mean, obviously a couple of loose touches, and he never really looked convincing in attacking areas. But it is his debut, of course, up against a very good Chelsea defence. Yeah, they have been leaking goals recently, but still a very good Chelsea defence, of course. So, yeah, he did all he could, really, and I think he definitely held the ball up well at times and never disgraced himself out there, and a chance for Dobbin to make a name for himself.
Yes, that was. Now there's going to be a free kick here with a collision. Reece James crashing into Jordan Pickford, of course, the recent England teammates now with James's call-ups. But, yeah, I mean, James actually stumbles as he's trying to go towards Pickford. And Pickford, I think, very quickly realised that his England compatriot there wasn't trying to hurt him in any way, but it looked quite painful.
I love how Pickford gets up and then he instantly goes back down again, holding where he gets hit. But, yeah, I mean, definitely a foul. If you say James, unintentional for him, he just kind of stumbles into him. Pickford does well, though, comes really decisive punch and gets it away. But, of course, he does have the free kick as well. And, as you say, Pickford here, taking his time. It's going to plan for Everton.
Yeah,
right now.
Asking the linesman twice. Is it definitely in that spot there, Lino? I mean, like it matters. It's a free kick inside his own penalty area. If he takes it from 10 or 11 yards, no one's going to mind. But, of course, in this situation, those extra couple of seconds are what Pickford is trying to eke out of the situation. The ball ended up with Edouard Mendy. Bowls it out quickly towards Marcus Alonso. There's been a pressing here from Everton as well. And Lewis Dobbin, of course, fresh off the bench. He's trying to close down on Thiago Silva. Azpilicueta now gets that ball to Reece James. So he's caught in possession, but he's brought down and fouled in the process. Which would be a bit of a shame for Everton, but again, it's Chelsea being held high up the field. So if they can't win the ball back, as long as they keep Chelsea away from their own half, that's the thing that Rafa Benitez's side will be looking to do. Double change being readied here for Chelsea, and it looks like it's Saul and Barkley.
Yeah, yellow card as well for an Everton player. Not quite sure what happened there. That was off our pictures. Might well be Dobbin who gets a booking. Pulisic was the man caught. But, yeah, big change for Chelsea, of course. Ross Barkley, former Everton man, looking to Andre Gomez, in fact. But, obviously, he'll be looking to make an impression. Barkley against his former club. So, we'll see how these substitutions work. But with Chelsea, they've got to change something. They've just lost their rhythm slightly. And fair play to Everton. I think as the game's gone on, they've grown a bit into it. And Chelsea just losing their way, running out of ideas. Yeah, well, we sort of almost forecast this, didn't we, at the start, mentioning those couple of seemed like routine home games that Chelsea have struggled with. It's also worth noting that Leeds United, who got hammered by Man City in midweek, almost came away with a point on Saturday and actually led at Stamford Bridge at one stage as well. So perhaps Chelsea are just finding the sides lower down the league just that little bit more difficult to break down. And that foul you mentioned, that yellow card for Andre Gomez, we were still getting shots of the substitutes being ready to come on for Chelsea, and suddenly we saw that Gomez had just gone a little bit hard. So he has been booked. Chelsea on the attack now, across wild cross though from the left-hand side from Hakim Ziyech. And this has been a problem for Ziyech, I think, ever since he's arrived. We'll see if he's one of the players to get the hook, because he's been struggling a little bit in this second half. It's going to be Ruben Loftus-Cheek to go off, and he's replaced by Ross Barkley.
Makes sense though, Loftus-Cheek on a booking as well. So Barkley is on to replace him. The other player is Saul Niguez, who has not really made much of an impact at Stamford Bridge so far. And we'll see who he comes on for. It looks like it's a Spanish for Spanish swap here, as Saul is going to come on here for Marcos Alonso.
Yeah, Sal's been really underwhelming so far, but he's not really had an opportunity. Obviously, we know Sal's a talented player. I certainly remember a goal he scored against Bayern Munich in the Champions League a few years ago. One of the great solo goals, really, in the semi-finals it was. So, just not really good at the Chelsea, but he's not really had the opportunity. So this final 25 minutes might be his chance. And, of course, Barkley, as I mentioned, does offer a little bit of a goal-scoring threat, of course, and he is a former Everton player, so we would love nothing more than to be the man to sink them.
Yeah, certainly, and when you think of Saul, of course, for many, many years, part of that Diego Simeone revolution at Atletico Madrid, and for a while he was very much never present in that 11, certainly in that squad anyway. And you thought with that kind of reputation arriving here in West London, hasn't really been able to deliver so far. And of course that partly being down to the fact there is so much competition for the places that he goes for, whether it's on the left of midfield or in an attacking three. He can play as well, or he can just play slap bang in the middle of midfield as when required. 66 minutes gone, independent off Tube Studio commentary. Still goalless here at Stamford Bridge. Second half at Anfield is well underway. They're into the 52nd minute there, and it's still Liverpool 2, Newcastle United 1. But here is chance now for Jorginho. Plays that ball in quickly. They're looking for a Mason Mount, and his pass. The problem, I think, for Chelsea is that in the first half they had one or two good moves sprinkled in with a couple of moves which broke down a little bit too easily. Now I think the problem for them is that they're not getting the same attacking chances they had early on in the first half, and it's just starting to affect their play in midfield. It just starting to look a little bit more disorganised at times.
Absolutely, yeah, there's so much play breaking down from them at the moment. Every time they get it, they're trying to rush to go forward. They know, of course, though, the clock is ticking on this game, but they've still got 25 minutes to go. I don't think they need to be panicking at this stage, but yeah, compared to the first half, though, the play's been a little bit sloppy, to be honest, and they've not really had the rhythm they had in the first half. And I think that is down to Everton, the fact they've grown into the game as well. But Everton aren't really offering a threat going forward. So if Chelsea do still need to be patient.
They do. There's still plenty of time, of course, for Chelsea. And if they were to score to make it 1-0 on 95 minutes, I'm sure Thomas Tuchel would like it to be done before then. But it's the 3 points that'll matter, as Everton are robbed of the... Everton win the ball back at the edge of their own box. It's played quickly towards Dobbin, chasing that one down to the edge of the Chelsea penalty area. Rare moment of involvement here for Edouard Mendy, as he just controls the ball inside his own penalty area. A couple of Everton players close by. So Mendy just threads a pass through to Hakim Ziyech. And Ziyech then plays that one in towards Ross Barkley. Saul has gone ahead of him, but Barkley chooses to ignore his fellow substitute, just plays it short now to Ziyech. Ziyech's ball is easily read there by Godfrey, not only clears it but actually controls it, brings it away here for Everton down the left-hand side. It's still Ben Godfrey getting to the edge of the area. Godfrey, what a run this is, and threads that ball in, and then Doucouré leaves it here for Iwobi. Just a little bit under hit was the back heel there from Doucouré, and then the ball eventually played into midfield there by Reece James. But that was probably the best counter-attack that Everton have had.
Yeah, really good play from Godfrey, it's got to be said. What a break forward that was. In the end, though, the layoff by Doucouré just a little bit short for Iwobi, who couldn't quite get there, but that's much more promising from Everton, and that's what they've got to rely on. Chelsea will tire in this game as well, even despite they have had a lot of the possession. So it's important Everton do make the most of them, but a really good run from Godfrey, but unfortunately for Everton, it never quite came to anything.
Didn't quite come to anything. They're back to their routine now, Everton, of trying to stop Chelsea at the edge of the area. Barkley square now to Azpilicueta, about 25 yards out. Now Ziyech is having to drop a little bit deeper back towards Antonio Rudiger. Jorginho now under pressure there from Dobbin, still gets the ball out to Azpilicueta, and here is Reece James now down the right hand side, gets the ball in. Mount had too much space there, he turns, and then he's blocked by Doucouré. Finally makes up for the fact that he probably should have done more to mark Mount in the first place. Rudiger now gets the ball into the edge of the area. That's stopped by Michael Keane. And then Doucouré can start a counter-attack here for Everton. He's over the halfway line. He's got the pacey Anthony Gordon to his left. Doucouré chooses to go alone, which is the wrong option. And Chelsea have the ball back. We're at 69 minutes. It is still goalless between Chelsea and Everton. And it will be Sam to take us through to full time.
Yeah, Everton on the attack now. Barkley finds Reece James. Maybe a chance for Chelsea. Here's a good chance for Mason Mount. He's in and he scores. And Chelsea do take the lead. And just like that, Everton's work is undone and Chelsea lead at Stamford Bridge. It's got to be said, though, it was too easy really for Chelsea in the end. And Everton was bit men forward and they're punished.
it'll be frustrating here for Rafa Benitez and for the whole Everton team, because they've tried so hard and done so well in terms of their organisation for 69 minutes. And then that one move there, just a bit too much space, and you can see how angry Jordan Pickford is with that.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously Pickford's had a very good game in goal, and the game plan was working really well. Decore really poor from him going forward. He gives the ball away cheaply, and Chelsea come forward. Everton have committed men forward, therefore they're light at the back, and that kind of shows really. Reece James gets in a good position. He finds Mount's certainly onside there, and he gets in a good position. In the end, it's an easy finish for him, and gives Pickford no chance, and Chelsea get the goal which they'll feel like they deserve.
They certainly will. I mean, in terms of effort, in terms of attacking intent, you certainly can't deny that Chelsea would feel as though they deserve a goal. Frustration for Everton that in the end, after all the good work, it was a relatively simple ball into the box. Mount unmarked, time to set himself a couple of touches before just blasting past Pickford at the near post as well, which might frustrate Jordan Pickford as well. But we can see the Everton bench very frustrated there with the way that goal is conceded. They're also a little bit frustrated with the referee. I think they felt as though there could have been a foul on Decore.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't believe it was a foul. And Everton come forward, they've actually given the ball away, though. No, I don't think there was a foul on Decore necessarily. I think it was just poor play from him, really, and obviously give the ball away. He shouldn't have gone on his own, as you said. And Everton have also made a substitution as well. Trying to figure out who's come on. It's actually Bamin who's come on for Gomez. Andre Gomez off and Bamin on. Yeah,
so it's quite a sort of, I'll say it's a risk. I mean, Gomez, with all his experience, Bamin, of course, been out injured for some time as well, but now he gets a chance here with just under 20 minutes to try and save Everton in this game.
Yep, and Chelsea in possession now, though, with Saul, who finds Pulisic on the left-hand side. Rudiger. Chelsea now can maybe rest up a little bit, but we'll want that second goal to absolutely make sure, of course, Liverpool winning this evening as well. Very important. Good ball on, though, there by Decore, but in the end, though, it's won back by Thiago Silva, and he goes back to his goalkeeper. It was Dobbin, who nearly got on the end of it. Rudiger in possession now, though, for the hosts. Everton not won at Stamford Bridge since 1994, a very long time ago. Then one FA Cup win in 2011 on penalties. Not won at Stamford Bridge since then.
1994. Well, I was still in primary school in 1994, and I can assure you that was a long time ago. So it's been a very long time coming here for Everton. It's one of those things where once you get up a bit of a bad run at ground, it can be difficult to break out, particularly when you think of the progress that Chelsea have been making since the late 90s. As the ball now over on the right-hand side, Mount couldn't quite keep it in play. But Everton don't want to lose their heads here. They've worked so hard to keep the game and restrict Chelsea to, well, as it is now, just to the one goal. They don't want to fall away in the last 20 minutes here now.
Absolutely. Everton, of course, maybe losing this game, but you cannot fault what's a pretty youthful Everton side for their effort in this game. They certainly have given it their all, defended really well. In the end, though, just a bit of a lapse in concentration, committing too many bodies forward, really, and Mason Mount got him behind. It's a really good finish from him as well, it's got to be said. But Everton do still have time, but they've got to make sure they, just make the most of an opportunity when it comes their way, which has pretty much been the story of the game for them, really.
It has. That really has been the whole top and bottom, really, of it for them. But it's as once again, Godfrey there just caught in possession on the halfway line, but the ball breaks to Gordon. Yeah, Gordon with a chance to go forward. He's surrounded. Is he fouled there by James? He is. It's going to be a free kick to Everton in a pretty dangerous position. Referee, I think that was a free kick, a little bit of a tug from behind from him, and Everton with a set piece opportunity. Yeah, well, James, we could certainly lip read him saying I didn't touch him. Well, you almost want to believe him because there's so little contact, and then Gordon just sort of scissors his own legs there and hits the deck. So there's certainly some argument. I mean, James would have been furious if he'd got a booking for that because there was virtually no contact at all. Absolutely, Gordon certainly made the most of it. It's going to be a free kick taken by Gordon, it looks like, on the left-hand side. Chance to get a good ball into the area to test that Chelsea defence. Going to be an in-swinging right footer from him as well. He does take it. It's not a bad delivery at all. It's at the back post and it's a goal! Everton have equalised and it's Branthwaite who scored, and wow, out of nothing, Everton have done it. Well, if only Everton could have done that when it was 0-0, then they'd be in front now, of course. But credit to Everton, who really have been under the cosh for most of this game. They conceded a goal relatively late on in the second half, and you think, well, that's going to be it for Everton. But within 5 minutes, they're level here at Stamford Bridge. And Thomas Tuchel immediately wanting to have an inquest there, looking at his monitor to see exactly if there's any kind of saving grace. There'll be no saving grace from VAR here. It's just a good finish from Branthwaite. The ball is heading towards the edge of the 6-yard box. He uses all of that 6'5" 6-for-6 frame that he has, gets his foot to it and stabs it past Edouard Mendy.
Fair play to Gordon for a fantastic delivery as well. It's right to the back post, dangerous one to deal with, and Branthwaite's in the right place, completely unmarked near enough though, outstretched leg, and from that area he's never missing really, and Everton equalise. And we mentioned all their hard work was undone. They've now got another 15 minutes of hard work to keep the scores level again. Yeah,
well, it's game on now. Certainly from the neutrals' point of view, this makes the next 15-16 minutes of the game very, very exciting, and Chelsea now have to step up a level.
Absolutely, Azpilicueta with the ball now. Chelsea just got to get up now. They did get their goal, which they've been waiting so patiently for, but now it's a bit of a setback. We do mention Chelsea's frailties at the back recently, and all of a sudden they are creeping in. Everton have offered very little going forward this evening, but a dangerous delivery into the area, and they're all of a sudden level. And Chelsea, their defence really has been what's defined Thomas Tuchel's reign so far at the club, but so in recent games starting to fade out a little bit really, and they're not doing as well at the back.
No, they're not, and the problem is that once a few teams can show that there is a way of playing against Chelsea to frustrate them, to stifle them, other teams of course will do their homework and try and replicate and improve on that, and that's what we're seeing here after some slightly indifferent results. But here come Everton again now with Gordon.
Iwobi finds Gordon, and Gordon into the area, crosses with his left foot, and it's cleared away by Thiago Silva. Them Everton fans are really up for this now as Dobbin going in. It's going to be a corner for the Toffees, and Everton, well, when going 1-0 down, they've never envisioned 6 minutes later they're on the attack to take the lead.
They are on the attack to take the lead, and considering they scored their equaliser from a set piece, why can't they think about taking the lead from a set piece as well? We'll have to wait and see whether or not this delivery from Gordon is good enough, and whether or not that Chelsea defence is organised this time.
It's going to be Gordon to take the corner. 1994's Everton, last one at Stamford Bridge. Gordon with it. It's not a bad one either. It's Mendy who just about gets there. Oh, the man goes down. It's a free kick. It's going to be a yellow card for diving as well. It looked like he blew for a penalty. It's Dobbin, the youngster, who went down. And interesting to see a replay of this. I mean, obviously, Dobbin, a very young man. I wonder if he has maybe trying to look for one there. Wasn't convincing by Mendy. And oh no, Dobbin has definitely dived there. It's a blatant
yellow card. Well, it is. It's a sad indictment of football today that even young players like that are trying to get penalties. But I suppose it's just what they've seen from their older favourites, isn't it? Footballers have been diving forever, and certainly, well, they're going to check this now. I mean, the VAR has decided to stop play momentarily whilst this is being checked over. I think the VAR check is now over, and it is just going to be a free kick to Chelsea with a booking for Dobbin. But potentially they thought there might have been some contact, but there wasn't any, and Dobbin has really done a pretty poor dive in the end, I think.
Yeah, Sal blatantly gets his leg out of the way before making any contact, and he's obviously looked at the leg going out, Dobbin, if whatever go down here, it might be a penalty, but never the case. He's definitely dived, and play can resume, and justice done there, really. And Chelsea have possession with Antonio Rudiger. Well, they've got to say that Mendy from that corner did not look convinced, and that's not good for Chelsea, really. Mendy's obviously not been in the best form, and since he's signing for Chelsea, he's obviously been fantastic, Mendy, but not really the last few games. He's starting to show a few frailties.
He is. I mean, when he first arrived, he didn't look the most confident. Then he grew into an excellent goalkeeper, and of course those heroics he had, particularly in that game away at Brentford, where he kept Chelsea in. And as you said, just recently he's proven to be a little bit unsteady on crosses. It only takes a little bit for other teams to capitalise on that, to try and put more pressure, as Chalobah being prepared here for Chelsea.
Yeah, Chalobah preparing to come on. It's a nice turn there, but it will be a throw into Everton. And all of a sudden, as Gus said, Everton, since equalising, have found a bit of a confidence to go forward as well, really. It should be very pleasing for Rafa.
Well, I think the confidence was from before they even conceded, that they had a good approach in this game, and once they weathered an early storm, the first 10-15 minutes, they were really under the cosh for Chelsea with good chances. But the longer that first half were on, Everton just started to grow into the game, and credit to them that they equalised so quickly after conceding.
Chelsea in possession of Azpilicueta, who finds Reece James. Did assist the Chelsea goal. He finds Mason Mount, the man who he did set up. Mason Mount's second goal against Everton. It also came in a 4-0 win in March 2020. Azpilicueta out to Mason Mount. Mount trying to get a cross in. It's blocked out though for a corner, and now Chelsea can try and get bodies into the area.
They're going to try and get bodies into the box here, Chelsea, and Mount's going to leave this corner kick. Ziyech is as well. It's going to be Ross Barkley to whip this ball in, but first of all there's going to be a change, and Cesar Azpilicueta is off to be replaced by Trevor Chalobah.
Yeah, Chalobah has scored a couple of goals this season, the youngster. Azpilicueta, of course, very experienced, but in this sort of position you do want people on the pitch who are going to threaten going forward. You wouldn't really put Azpilicueta in that bracket. Ross Barkley to take the corner. It's not a bad one either. It will be headed towards goal, and it's saved by Pickford. It was Thiago Silva's header. It was low. Pickford does well in the end to palm it wide.
Does really well there, Jordan Pickford. G's himself up and encourages his teammates as well after making that save. Out-swinging corner from the right-hand side. That's heading towards goal. It's not quite in the corner, which just makes it a little bit easier for Pickford. But what makes it harder is that it was bouncing just in front of him. A second corner coming in from the left this time. But it's Rudiger with the header, pretty tame header in the end, straight into the arms of Pickford.
Was dangerous, though, and two centre-backs there having a bite at the cherry at goal, but Pickford denying them. So I saw how disappointed Pickford was when they conceded the goal, Everton. He'll be delighted, of course, making that save then, though, to keep his side on level terms. But 22 attempts for Chelsea to Everton's 5. This is very much reminding us of that Burnley game we've mentioned a couple of times recently. So many chances for Chelsea. They've just not really been clinical enough, and if Everton were to get a point here, Chelsea will be kicking themselves.
Oh, they would be. It would feel like 2 points drop because they're playing, albeit Everton have got some organisation about them, and of course they certainly came here with a game plan, but considering that Everton pretty much came to Stamford Bridge to defend, that's the sort of game that Chelsea, if they have got title ambitions, they have to be winning a game like that.
Absolutely. They won it late against Leeds United at the weekend. Chelsea, they'll have to be open to do the same again. Chalobah, with his first couple of touches, he goes back to Mendy, who finds Rudiger. Chelsea, 10 minutes to go at Stamford Bridge, 1-1. Here's Jorginho into James. Mount, a nice turn back to James, bit of a loose touch, but he does keep possession. Mount, the ball around the club, but James won't quite get there, and the attack breaks down. And every attack that breaks down for Chelsea, Everton can breathe a sigh of relief.
They can. It just means that there's more time to be wasted here with the throw. Thinking about going back to the keep, a couple of quick passes there. Ben Godfrey, just it's very funny how he just acting there with Michael Oliver. So, oh, really? I've got to take the throw. Have I? Okay, then, ref, no problem. Very apologetic, very sort of trying to make out as though he didn't know what was going on. But this is all part of the what Everton are planning to do here, which is to kill as many seconds as possible. And Chelsea aren't finding it as easy here either. They had a throw on there, they won the ball back relatively high up the field, have to go back towards the halfway line.
So Thiago Silva plays it to Rudiger. Back to Thiago Silva. Chalobah needs to lust the possession there. Good play from Gordon to win it back. The man, of course, who set up Everton's equalisers. Nice play from him, but he just about keep possession. He's done really well in the end, it's got to be said. And then in the end, Everton lose out, though. Jorginho finds Ross Barkley against Decore. Barkley's ball. It's going to be a good play, though, by Bamin to win it back. And then again, though, Everton lose possession, but it will be cleared away by Branthwaite. A bit scrappy at the moment. His ball's going to fall. Pickford will claim that one. And it's in the goalkeeper's arms, and a bit of a scrappy passage of play, but Everton, in the end, come away with it.
They do. Ball rolls to Pickford. He can now pick himself up, take a few seconds here just to work out where he's going to be clearing this ball from. And it's looking a little bit tricky for Chelsea at the moment. They need to find either just that little spark of brilliance or indeed a little bit of luck here at the moment, because just from open play, what they're doing right now isn't troubling Everton enough.
Absolutely not. And Chalobah heads back to Mendy, who then plays the ball back to him. Chalobah, remember that great moment for him the opening day of the season in Chelsea's 3-0 victory over Crystal Palace when he did find the back of the net. Rudiger to Thiago Silva. Chelsea still having to be quite patient and break down this Everton team. An injury hits Everton team, it's fair to say. We look there at touches in the opposition box, 26 for Chelsea, only 7 for Everton. I mean, obviously all this differences in stats don't really matter to Everton, really. If they come away with a point, they won't really care.
No, absolutely not. They'll feel as though it's very much a point game, particularly when it's conceded first. But here comes Mount down the right-hand side.
With a cross, it's going to be headed away, though. Headed away well. Jorginho, Chalobah. Back out to Mount, another crossing chance maybe. Gordon closes him down. He does get a cross in. It's blocked by Godfrey, and Pickford will come, and not sure if he's quite kept that in. He's punched it away. It will be a throw-in, and Pickford does his job of preventing a corner. Yeah,
always a little bit unorthodox there, Pickford, and how he does things, but it's effective. He stopped the corner from being given. Chelsea take a throw here between Chalobah and James.
Chalobah finds Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva to Jorginho. Jorginho back out to Reece James. Mount. James again. Still trying to stand the right-hand side of the penalty area. James into Thiago Silva, who goes away, finds Jorginho again. Again, plenty of Everton bodies back. Chelsea got to be patient in their play and try and find that killer pass. Jorginho to Chalobah. Goes back to Jorginho. Good play again, though. It's really good play, it's got to be said. And will that go out for a throw? No, it's actually going to be a free kick. Looks like Gordon Good play from Gordon to close down, but I think he might have just given away a free kick in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Jorginho certainly looking very frustrated there towards the referee, Michael Oliver, not feeling the need to come across and diffuse the situation, but it's going to be James to take the free kick from the right-hand side.
Yes, just over 5 minutes to go at Stamford Bridge. Reece James over this free kick. It's not a bad one either. It's flicked on. It will fall to Sal at the back post. Sal plays it back in. It's a really poor one though, and it goes out for a goal kick. And Sal there, he's got to do better with that. He's just completely hoofed it out of play. He's
under no real pressure either. I mean, Pulisic potentially could have done a little bit better with the ball that was crossed into him. It's almost like he'd misjudged exactly where the flight of the ball, and it went over his head. But then Saul on that left-hand side, no one's closing him down. All he's got to do is just pick out a teammate, or at least get it into a danger area inside the box, instead of which he lifts it and gets it away for a goal kick. And it's the Everton fans that are in full voice now. They can sense a famous draw here for them, which it will be a famous draw with this team. The amount of injuries that they have, if they could hold on here, they'll be delighted with this.
Absolutely. Rafa Benitez, of course, no stranger to delivering a very good defensive performance as a manager. But here comes Chelsea, though. Ziyech flicks it on towards Mount. Mount up against Branthwaite, and Mount beats him for pace. Branthwaite does really well to get back, and he's actually got a goal kick in the end, Mason Mount, a corner, sorry. And it will be Ziyech to take it. But he's going to go short for a moment. Is he going to leave this for Barkley? He is. And Ross Barkley, it will be to take it instead. But Branthwaite with a good turn of pace to put it out for a corner, but more pressure on that Everton goal. But it's got to be said, for the last few minutes they have dealt with it quite well. Barkley going to be an out-swinging corner from the midfielder. It's into the area. It's headed away, though, by Branthwaite. And now Everton can maybe try and break. It's Dobbin in possession. He's not really know where to go, but he wins a free kick and does his job well there from Reece James. And James not impressed, but good play from the youngster.
It is good play. Hold the ball up, make things difficult, make it more difficult for opposition players to try and win the ball off you. It's nice touch to see that a couple of Everton players who can't even, for example, we see Townsend sat just behind the bench there, so he's made the trip down to London today to be with the team. Seamus Coleman, the club captain there, almost like a second manager there behind Rafa Benitez, trying to bark out some instructions. And it's a free kick now to Everton, and it's closer to the halfway line, so Pickford might try and send this towards the box.
Pickford does launch it forward, but it will be headed away, though, by Sal. Barkley keeps it alive, but Dobbin wins it back from him. Decore goes forward. Dobbin then takes it away from Rudiger. Good play from the youngster. Dobbin crosses in, and it will be cleared by Chalobah. It won't be on the edge of the area. It's a poor touch from him, though, and Jorginho clears. And here come Chelsea on the break. It's where they've got to be careful. Pulisic, really good challenge by Michael Keane, though, and Decore wins it back. Here's Iwobi, and Iwobi through to Dobbin, who's onside up against Thiago Silva. Dobbin turns, it's a bit of a loose touch, and it'll just run through to Mendy. And just broke down a little bit in the end, but Everton with an opportunity to go forward.
Great opportunity. I've not seen Dobbin too many times. I just wonder, does he not trust his right foot there? He could have easily put his laces through that and shot towards goal. It seemed like he was very keen on turning onto his left foot, and that just slowed things down, and he was able to have the ball taken off him. But here come Chelsea now. Yeah,
Barkley finds Jorginho. Game become a little bit end-to-end, which Everton won't really want at this point, really, with all the hard work they have done. Chalobah finds Jorginho. Rudiger. Barkley. Jorginho. Chalobah, the substitute again, goes forward. It's not a poor ball, though, from Chalobah, and it runs through to Pickford. That's not really what Chelsea needs. Ziyech is never getting that.
No, it's more or less in his direction, but you couldn't say it was a pass directly to him. Once again, Pickford just taking those extra few seconds just to ask his teammates who wants the ball. Nobody wants the ball. They want you to clear it long, Jordan. But you know what you're doing. You're just trying to kill a few seconds there again. And it's working. Everton just a couple of minutes away now from getting into injury time. And I don't think there'll be that much of it. I'd be surprised if there's any more than 4 minutes, really, because haven't had too many stoppages. Everton getting ready to bring on a third and final change.
Dobbin finds Iwobi. It's a little bit wide for him, but Iwobi with an opportunity maybe. He's going to take his time, there's no doubt. Takes it into the area, but then plays it back out. Cross in, and it's going to be headed away, though, by Jorginho quite easily. And, a bit of ball there from Dobbin to Iwobi, and he was pretty much in, but in the end, the ball just forced him slightly wide.
He did just force him slightly wide, yes, and we'll see that it's Tyler Onyango getting ready to come on, 18-year-old midfielder. So wait to see who he replaces in these last few minutes. But for the time being, Jorginho brings the ball forward, and Chelsea really have just been bereft of ideas in these last few minutes. They're going forward, but they just can't find the space. And again, it's another one of these through balls that just misses the target. and it goes all the way through to Pickford.
Yeah, it's poor already from Chelsea. They just can't afford many drop points here today, Chelsea. If they do, they will go 4 points behind league leaders Manchester City, and not really good for Chelsea. They were top of the league a couple of weeks ago, but they have hit a bit of a rough patch, and with the Everton squad they've got available to them, they'll see this as a huge missed opportunity. But as for Everton, this will be a vital point for them.
They certainly will. Everton's next game against Leicester is off at the weekend. They then play Burnley on Boxing Day. Chelsea's next game is away to Wolves on Sunday. They then play away to Brentford in the Carabao Cup in midweek. It's the quarter-finals Tuesday and Wednesday next week, before playing away to Aston Villa on Boxing Day. But all those to be confirmed, of course, with the current situation with the pandemic. We may see quite a few more games of falling away, but this is good news for Everton. They've won themselves a free kick, and it's in the Chelsea half.
And Everton are going to make that change. 20 seconds to go until the 90 minutes are played. It's going to be
Anthony Gordon.
Anthony Gordon, what a good game he's had. Gordon, he did get the assist for the equaliser. A very good free kick delivery for that. Worked his socks off. He certainly deserves a round of applause from the Goodison Park, well, from the Everton faithful who've made the trip to Stamford Bridge. It's going to be Onyango to come on, another young Everton player, and they are closing in what would be a famous point at Stamford Bridge due to the circumstances, but a chance for Kenny to put a good ball in here. It is
a good chance here for Kenny. Chelsea playing quite a high offside line. The fourth official has put up 5, so we are going to get 5 minutes of injury time. Here comes the ball in.
Ball in, it's going to be flicked on by Keane, but that's easily through though to Mendy. There's been a bit of a head collision, so the game will of course have to stop, and that will add a couple of minutes on, and they're always quite sore ones really. And
they are, but interesting, Saul straight up onto his feet there. He doesn't want to waste any time, of course, because his side need every second here. Michael Keane just needs a little bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan Pickford has been awarded man of the match by BT Sport. You can't really be surprised at that, can you, really? Pickford, it's got to be said, he's had a fine display in goal, and just says, really, I mean, he does have his critics, Pickford, but when he's at his best, he is a very good goalkeeper.
He is. I mean, as I say, there's a reason why he's England's #1 right now. There are other good England goalkeepers, but Pickford really has grown into that role, and just seeing a few of his highlights this evening, making a couple of really good saves, and both Keane and Saul now on their feet. We're playing on.
Absolutely. Challenger finds Thiago Silva. Chelsea just got to hurry this up. 1 of the 5 extra minutes have been played, but of course there will be a little bit longer, you'd imagine, due to the head injuries. Thiago Silva, he's lost possession quite cheaply there, and it was nearly won back by Dobbin, but Thiago Silva just about regains it. Here's Ziyech. Lively first start from the Moroccan, but has certainly been a lot quieter in this one. Rudiger finds Chalobah. Chalobah out to James. James taking his time. Everton putting some good pressure on. Barkley turns. Finds Rudiger. Ball into nice take, and here comes Chelsea. Sal with a bit of a loose touch though, and Everton can clear with Branthwaite. It's a bit of a hesitant touch, but and then it's away. Barkley wins it back, threads it through to Sal. Onto Mount, goes to get there. James will. James onto Mount in the area. Mount trying to turn, he does with his right foot, crosses in, it's headed away by Michael Keane, it's over the head of Ziyech, and then Dobbin can't control, and he's done really well, gets it forward, anywhere will do at this point for Everton, but it is back in possession of Chelsea with Mendy, who finds Jorginho, and it's going to be a wave towards that Everton goal, you'd imagine, in the last couple of minutes.
Yes, it's going to be one-way traffic if Chelsea can help it, of course. They're going to keep the ball as high up the field as they can. Everton now setting up in pretty much 2 banks of 5 here just to try and restrict anything that Chelsea are doing. Still 2.5, maybe just over 3 minutes with that injury till it's time to play, as Barkley tries to get that ball forward, and stepping forward there is Keane, clears the ball away.
Mark Keane's had a quietly good game today. Michael Keane, the England international, I mean, obviously had his critics as well recently, but did well enough there to get that clearance in, and Rudiger will find Thiago Silva. Again, Chelsea coming forward. Jorginho. Everton though keeping a good line though, really making it hard for Chelsea to find a way through. Something they've done so often in this game. Jorginho, Thiago Silva, on to Ziyech against Iwobi. Nice turn from Barkley, but then Decore blocks, and it will be headed further away, and then the clearance is completed. Iwobi won't keep that alive. That's another throw-in for Chelsea, but time is running out. The clock is against Thomas Tuchel's side.
It is. Pretty much 90 seconds of injury time left to play now, plus anything Michael Oliver wants to add on in addition. Chelsea pushing forward again. Can they find the space here? Here comes Mount, but his ball into Pulisic is behind the American.
And then Keane can clear. Dobbin goes to chase, but he just gives up that chase as the ball runs through to Edouard Mendy, who will find Thiago Silva. Chelsea got to have a bit of urgency, but fair play to Everton for the shape they are keeping. It's really making it hard for Chelsea.
Well, yeah, just to confirm as well that if it stays as it is, Chelsea will be 4 points behind Man City, but with the same number of games played. That turns into a bit of a gap. But here comes Chalobah now.
Chalobah with a nice turn, eventually plays it back to James. James who crosses in. It's a really good ball. It's just about cleared by Keane. Really good delivery though by James. Decore completes the clearance. Here is Jorginho on to Ziyech. Jorginho. Chalobah, chance for him to cross, he checks back. He then finds Jorginho again. Chelsea continue to be patient. Thiago Silva to Chalobah. Reece James. Ziyech. Again, Chelsea just being patient. Ziyech tries to work it onto that left foot. He will find Barkley. And he tries to play a ball through. It's a good one towards Pulisic, who does keep it alive. He does find Rudiger as well. Wasn't the best ball by Barkley, but Pulisic had to keep it alive to prevent it going for a goal kick. Rudiger plays it in, and will that be a corner? No, it's going to run through to Pickford, who will undoubtedly take his time, and Everton might well be there.
Yeah, well, by the time Pickford gets up and clears this, just taking a bit of cramp there with that right foot there, Pickford. But by the time he clears this, we've had the full 5 minutes, so it's just a case of whether Michael Oliver feels he wants to add on anything on top of that, but it looks like Everton have done it.
A famous point for Everton in the circumstances. As for Chelsea, a huge 2 points drop. Pickford kicks it forward. Whistle's not gone yet. It's going to be straight out of play though, and it will be Chelsea's throw-in time. Certainly against them though. Chalobah.
Well, I can't imagine we've got more than 30 seconds in addition to what we've already seen here now. We're pretty much at 5.5 minutes of injury time played. So surely once it gets to 6 minutes, it will be up. And Michael Oliver looks at his watch, and is he going to blow for full time there? I think he might do.
He has blown for full time, and it ends Chelsea 1, Everton 1. Mason Mount it was who gave Chelsea the lead, but just a few minutes later, it was Branthwaite who equalised for Everton, an unlikely source. A famous point for Everton considering all their injury issues, and a great job done by Everton and Rafa Benitez. Final score at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea 1, Everton 1.